Puja Gurudev's centenary, and we just have a few days to go, and just a few days left for this Bhagavad Gita to complete also. We are coming down to the end of Gita. Last night when we left it, we were there in chapter 18, verse number 66. That's what we are supposed to see today. I told in that introduction last night that this is perhaps one of the most famous verses of Bhagavad Gita. A verse which all the children also know in the school. They go on chanting every day. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja hantva sarva papebhya mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. Bhagavan says to Arjuna. Let us chant this most wonderful verse. The summary of all of Bhagavad Gita, summary of all its teachings, and also the conclusion. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
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 Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Aham tva sarva papebhyah mokshayishyami ma shuchaha.
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama.
Bole Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharam vraja. Take refuge in me alone. Mamekam, the one Lord of the universe. Bhagavan is telling to Arjuna, my dear Arjuna, take refuge in me. Arjuna means all of us. Please be clear about that. Don't think Bhagavan is speaking to some one character in a remote time and place. Bhagavan, all of us is Arjuna. We all have some gunas of Arjuna. Arjuna has many good traits and qualities, but also many durgunas, which Bhagavan himself had to remove in all of these 700 verses, right? So, those durgunas of Arjuna we also have. Same. So, Bhagavan is speaking, he says, Arjunam nimitti kritya Bhagavan Vasudeva aha sarva loka anugrahartham. Bhagavan Bhashakar says, he speaks this Gita for the benefit of all of humanity using Arjuna as a medium. Get it? Arjuna is just incidental. Bhagavan is teaching the whole universe, not just one person. So, he's telling him, so whenever he says Arjuna in this Bhagavad Gita, anywhere, please remember he's not talking to, he's talking to us. So he says, my dear Arjuna, Sharam Vraja, take refuge. In who? Mam Ekam, the one Lord of the universe. After doing what? Sarva dharman parityajya. After having dropped all dharma. And this is a most strange statement, most powerful statement also. After having dropped all dharma, take refuge in me, the one Lord. Aham tva sarva papebhya mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. I will free you from all sins and give you moksha. I'll bring to you moksha. Ma shuchaha, don't worry. Don't lament, don't cry. Stop crying. Bhagavan also, look here, Bhagavan is telling all of humanity, stop crying. We just tell little children, okay, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. Stop crying. Bhagavan telling all are we? Don't cry. Because whole day we crying. Crying means what? Complaining about everything in this world. Everything complaining. So, it means a human being doesn't accept anything in this world. There's no acceptance of anything, so he's complaining about everything. That is the crying he's talking about. It means to say what? That everything is bringing sorrow to us. So, don't cry. Now, if you brought your Gita tonight, you could close it. Because I could spend the rest of the lecture on this verse only. I'm not going to know second verse. Because this verse, I told you, is most potent. It sounds simple. Right? The translation and all. But it is not by any means simple. Now see the first phrase. Sarva dharman. Dharma, when you want to say, in plural, you say dharman. Not dharmas. All dharma. All dharma. Parityaja, having dropped it. Sarva means all. I'll go slowly and I'll tell you all the Sanskrit and everything also, because remember this verse is the concluding teaching of Bhagavad Gita. After this, Bhagavan just makes commentaries about certain things. Don't teach this Gita to this one, don't teach to that one, because you're wasting your time and all that kind of thing. That's not teaching. The teaching of Bhagavad Gita ends here. I mean, the spiritual teaching of Bhagavad Gita ends here. Now, Sarva dharman parityaja, having dropped all dharma. Now, you know from your experience of reading Shastras and listening to such, going to Ramayana, Yajna, this, that, all over the years, how many years you've been going, right? They tell, drop adharma. He's saying here, drop dharma. But it's a real strange thing, isn't it? Drop adharma means don't engage in any adharma. So, Bhagavan Bhashakar, Sri Shankaracharya, who has written the Sanskrit commentary on this whole thing, he says, Atra, here, in this instance, in this verse, dharma shabdena, adharma cha grihyate. It means to say, by the word dharma here, Bhagavan not just saying, when he says drop all dharma, he's not telling you, well, drop all dharma, but you can continue in adharma, no problem. That's not the meaning. Because people like to bring out their own meaning from Shastras and all, you know. So Bhagavan says, drop all dharma. So that means you could continue doing dharma. He says here, first, with regard to this phrase, first comment then is, drop all dharma and drop all adharma. Now that is a very strange thing. Because, see, in fourth chapter, you all know this very famous verse. 2 verses. See here. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge sambhavami yuge yuge. Please see what seems like deep contradictions in Bhagavad Gita. In these 2 verses, which is so famous, which all of you know also, Bhagavan says, when there is a decline of dharma, yada yada hi dharmasya glanihi. Glani means decline. When there is a decline of dharma, abhyutthanam adharmasya, and there is a rise of adharma. Dharma, what do you know, na? Dharma means goodness, righteousness. Adharma means the opposite of that. So when there is a rise of adharma, then tadatmanam srijamyaham. That time I come forth. Then what I do when I come? Paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya cha dushkritam. I protect all the sadhus. I protect goodness. Sadhu literally means good in Sanskrit. Sadhu, sadhu. I protect goodness and all the good people. And vinashaya cha dushkritam. I remove all the wickedness and wicked people. That Kansa and all his Kamsa Chanuram Mardanam. You know, na? Remove all these Putna. Like that. Right. So, paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkritam. Dushkritam means wicked people. Dushkritam, see how wicked people is. See, in English, the English word is not connected to wicked people. Dushkritam means who does bad things. That is the literal meaning of the word. So I remove them. Sambhavami yuge yuge. Age after age I come. So like that, he comes to protect dharma. Now, he is telling that in 4th chapter, now in his 18th chapter, he says, Sarva dharman paritya, drop all dharma. Now something has to, why is telling the devotee to drop dharma also? That means there's some real study is required here, isn't it? Because the Lord cannot be held to be contradicting himself. So please remember this one principle about Shastra. When studying Shastra, we have to study Shastra having developed what I call in Sanskrit as Uha Poha Vichakshana. Uha Poha Vichakshana means when you study the Shastra, you are not supposed to study with the attitude to see how it is wrong. You are supposed to study with the attitude to see how it is right. That means to say, if there is something that seems contradictory and something which you do not understand, it is not that something is wrong with the Shastra, it is something is wrong with your understanding. You still have not come to the point of understanding what is written there. But you know the human mind, he quick to criticize. No, Gita, foolish thing. Bhagavan there says, he himself comes to protect dharma and to remove a dharma. Now he's telling him, drop dharma also. So that means some little bit of study, additional study has to be done. Why the Lord is telling to drop this dharma, all dharma. And then what is the meaning of dharma also? Dharma word is one of the broadest word in Sanskrit language. Dharma, karma, all of these words, you don't have a direct English translation for these words. Now, let me tell you the background of this statement which the Lord makes. Because he has given hint in many chapters. In 9th chapter, and again in 12th chapter, Shubha, Shubha Parityagi, Bhaktiman, Yasame Priyaha. And in there, Shubha, Shubha Palai Revam, Shubha, Shubha Palai Revam. In 9th chapter, Moksha se Karma Bandhanaihi. Those places, he gives hints for understanding this phrase. Now, why the Lord is telling to drop dharma and adharma? Because the fundamental basic teachings of Bhagavad Gita, or fundamental basic teaching of Bhagavad Gita is, this world is called as Dvandva Sansar. Dvandva means made up of dualities. Please pay attention to this. It's a very simple, rational, logical presentation in the Upanishads and in Bhagavad Gita about the structure of this universe. The universe from the atom right up to all the galaxies and all, they are controlled and ruled by, governed by the laws of the pairs of opposite. Like from the atom, there has to be positive and negative charge. You can't just have one charge. What atom you will have? Then nothing will be going on there. There must be a positive charge and there must be a negative charge. Now between the positive charge and the negative charge, which one more important? Well, how you will say which one more important? Both are just as important. And you go right up to our earth and the sun now. You have one force pulling the earth towards the sun. And you have one force pulling the earth away from the sun. And because they balance at that point, the earth stays in orbit. So opposing forces. So whether it's at the macrocosmic level or the microcosmic level, you have the law of the pairs of opposite, a centripetal and a centrifugal force in opposite directions. The whole universe is characterized by this law. Every single thing. Second thing about the law now. If one of the pair of the opposite is not there, the next one cannot be there. You think? If there is no such thing as cold, then there will be no such thing as hot. How you will know what is hot? You only know what is hot in comparison to cold. And that's why I told you just now, the atom, you can't have just a positive charge or a negative charge. No, you just take that and extrapolate. See the whole rest of life now. Life cannot have just joy. Life has to have sorrow. Life cannot have just birth. Life has to have death. So every single thing in this universe, including our own life, at every level, the pairs of opposites must be there. So in the universe now, even at an ordinary level, if you look, right, you can't just have saints and sages in the world. You need a few daku and all that, you know. You need crooks and criminals and murderers, and that is how the world is. You may not like it. That is a different matter altogether. We are not talking about what you like or what you don't like. We are talking about what is the basic and fundamental structure and nature of the universe. I was just telling a few days ago, in some satsang, I don't know if here or abroad, you just take away one negative thing from the world, right? Take away crime. Let us just say we take away crime, one negative thing, right? So what you have now, you have only puja and satsang and havan and spirituality and Hanuman Chalisa and you, only damn nice thing. Right? Take away crime. You just study a little bit. You see, we don't really think about these things. One negative thing we're going to take away. So, no crime. Then, do you need police? Or you fire all the police? Do you need traffic lights? No. Do you need to paint the white line on the road? No, people are going to stay on the side because he wouldn't go, there would be, no transgression. No traffic light, no white light. Do you need judges and courts and army and soldiers and law books and lawyers? No. Oh, so okay, we will not need them. You just start thinking, go on thinking, take that further. You will see the whole society will collapse because we take away the criminals. Good thing them fellas there. That means to say Trinidad and Tobago must be a really healthy society. See now, you don't need locks on your door, you don't need keys, alarm system, doors you don't need. Why talk about lock? What about a fellow who making lock and the locksmith and the key man and the doorman and all the people who making all that money? Windows you don't need? You get nice air coming because nobody will come to commit any crime, isn't it? Natural air conditioning. What you need? If you take away just this one thing called crime, the whole society collapses. You just haven't thought about it. That is why the Lord has put it. Had Ravan not been there, Ram would have come. Where you come for? Ram didn't come, no Ramayana. Satsang don't too. Kans wasn't there, Krishna would not have come. There's no Gita today. 108 what? Stay home. 108 night Gita Yajna. There'll be no need. And you see, everything is connected to everything else. No insurance companies. Fire insurance, theft, this, that, all. The fella who, if there were no crime, the fella who make an accident, he will very, very nicely say, yeah, my dear friend, sorry, I bonked your car, come, I'll go fix it. What you need insurance for? Because he's no criminal, he will not lie or tell anything, isn't it? So, the universe, for it to function, need, like I tell you, like a bicycle. You must have two pedals. No bicycle with one pedal could go. How will you go? You must have the two pedals there. Now, what really is the implication of this basic and fundamental structure of the unity? Implication is this thing. You cannot live in this world and only do good things. Because if you're going to consume an atom, you can't just consume the positive charge from the atom, isn't it? You have to consume both the positive and the negative. In other words, you can't live in this universe by only doing dharma. That's not possible. You may do dharma predominantly. That is a different matter. But whether you like it or not, you will be participating in adharma. Like all of you drove here tonight. Adharma. This whole 108 we drive. And we were talking about far distances. Vishala was talking about far distances. Maha distance. Maha distance also means Maha Adharma. Because you have to burn more gas. You have to spew carbon monoxide into the atmosphere. You're creating bigger amount of demand, and the oil companies have to dig for more oil, take it out from under the earth, pump sodium bromide into the earth, disfigure the natural configuration of the earth underneath, and cause more earthquakes. And you're contributing to that because you're buying more gas. Bigger and bigger cars. That's why I limit it. 2 liter. In other words, you cannot really live on this earth by living and only doing dharma. This inadvertently, you will also be doing adharma. In the greatest, most dharmic act, which you call dharmic, you will also be an accessory to adharma. Puja. You sit down there and you're doing puja, which is supposed to be the most sacred thing. Agamatam devanam gamanaksham. You ring your bell and all, and you're doing your Agraya sarva devanam dhupoyam pratigrihatam. You're smoking agarbatti, na? You know, agarbatti, many places in the world where agarbatti is made, children are making. You're contributing to child labor also. But you think you're well doing puja, nice. So in your mind, you have a great and noble thought. I'm doing offerings to Bhagavan. That part of it is okay. But I'm saying it is unavoidable that you're also contributing to adharma. Welcome to the world. You understand the nature of the world now? That's why Bhagavan called this world a dvandva sansara. Dvandva means pairs of opposites. And I told you the implication there is you cannot participate in one and try to avoid the other one totally. Inadvertently, whether you like it or not, you will contribute to adharma. Now, further, one step further than that now. Think, Bhagavad Gita and Upanishad about thinking. Think along now. For all the dharma which you do, the result will be good or not? Good. For all the adharma which you do, how the result will be? The result, Tulsidaji tells very nicely, huh? Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram.
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 Karma Pradhan Deshwa Kari Rakh. Hari Bol.
Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram.
Jo jas karai so tas phalu chakha.
Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram.
Karma Pradhan Deshwa Kari Rakh. जो जस करई सो तस फलु चाखा जय राम जय रघुराम रघुराम श्यावर रामचंद्र की जय तुलसीदास जी most famous verse karma pradhan. This world is governed by a very very great law, prepondering law, karma. They call karma. And what is the law? Jo jas karai so tas phalu chakha. As we sow, so shall we reap. Now if you sow dharma, then you reap good things. If you sow adharma, then naturally. Now, since I told adharma is unavoidable, then that means to say in our life now we will get good results and we will also get bad results. You have no choice in that. That's why the great sages also, they suffer all sorts of things. Who seem to be only engaged in dharma. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa had cancer. Sri Ramana Maharishi had cancer. Our Puja Gurudev had every other thing. Diabetes, high blood pressure, heart problem, anything. He had heart and sugar. In Trinidad, we describe these things well nicely, I tell you. He had heart and sugar. So, it sages also, because while living in the world, unavoidably we also engage in adharma. So then why Bhagavan says, remember there, please listen to the words in 4th chapter again. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanihi. When there is a decline of dharma, abhyuthanam dharmasya. And when adharma rises, it means to say the balance tips in favor of adharma. It doesn't say, and in no time, nowhere in the teaching of Upanishad or Gita said that there can be totally one only. When the adharma goes too high, too much of injustice and adharma in society, unbearable. All the devatas, Mother Earth, Kamadhenu, all rishi, they all went. Devarishi Narad, they all went to Bhagavan and to Prabhu. This Ravan is too much. We can't bear him anymore. Not that dharma is gone totally, but adharma has risen so much. So Bhagavan comes to bring us semblance of balance. Like that. So, what can happen is that you can have one or the other going more or less, but you can't have either one disappearing totally. Like in an atom, you will have the positive charge in the center. And the negative charge, no, that negative charge you could have, in some atoms there are more, isn't it? Greater number. The hydrogen will have one, others will have more than one. You see? So, this universe is so structured that when we do the dharma, we get good result. When we do adharma, we get bad result. And then I told you have no choice in that matter. You will have to also engage in adharma. When you walk in, come in here, I don't know how many ants you walk on. And even if you eat in a place of food, because the curry and the salt and the oil and masala and all things you're using, they're all transported on trucks and ships, which burn the crudest form of diesel, polluting the atmosphere like anything. So more curry you eat, more you're contributing to. You know, one of those cruise ships, people who go on cruises, go on a cruise. Oh, I visited this country and that and the other one. And nobody tells, how much time they vomit and how much time they get sick. That part they don't tell. They don't tell, I went here in this place and that place. And one of those cruise ships, and this is statistics, in its lifetime, will pollute the atmosphere to the equivalent of 5 million cars in their lifetime. One ship in its lifetime will pollute the earth to the equivalent of 5 million cars in their lifetime. See the degree of pollution. So I think, but I didn't do nothing, Swamiji. Why are suffering for so? Me do nobody, nothing. I such a good man. But I'm telling we and participate in this adharma unknowingly also. Yeah. We go on. So, now, when the rishis really analyze this world in which we are living, and they say, but what is this? I'm doing dharma, I'm doing also adharma. And because of that, I keep coming back in this world, birth after birth. So now there must be some key to coming out from this world. Because I am engaged inadvertently, unknowingly, in adharma, I keep coming back. Because once you do some karma, you have to come back to get the result. You must be there. Because it says, so you sow, so shall you reap. Never so you sow, so shall I reap. That only happens in agriculture. That's called Prijalasani. So you sow, so shall I reap. No. So, the whole karmic cycle necessitates birth after birth after birth. This thing is called as bondage. I am bound to do adharma. I am bound to suffer. I am bound to come back. I am bound to reap the results. When we say bondage, bandhan, that word in Sanskrit, bandhana in Sanskrit and Hindi, that word means this thing. You are bound to suffer, bound to do adharma, bound to get sick, bound to take rebirth, bound to go through the cycle of birth and death. You have no choice in the matter. Therefore, there in 9th chapter, Bhagavan starts this teaching now what? Shubha Shubha Phalairevam Mokshase Karma Bandhanaihi. I will free you from the results of Shubha Karma, good karma, dharma, and Ashubha Karma means bad karma. I will free you from the results of both. You cannot become freed from the result of what? Because let's say good karma. Well, look, if you do real good karma in this lifetime, you have to come back to reap that result too. Isn't it? Because who already resolved for you? There is no such thing as you do the crime and I do the time. So that goes for the negative side as well as the positive side. So, from the 9th chapter, he started teaching this thing wonderfully, that now we have to go beyond good and bad. Right now, we only operate within the realm of good and bad. So, we're trying to avoid all the bad and only do good. But I told you, you will try and you will succeed in doing more good than bad. But whether you like it or not, you will have to end up doing also. Not intentionally, but you will end up doing also wrong things. So now, from that vicious cycle to come out, that thing is called as moksha. It says mokshase there. Right? And what that requires that you learn, and this is, see, those of you who have missed out this 108 and all coming up, all of these, we have taught all of these principles already in rudimentary stages and all. Yeah, in the rudimentary stages. See, this is a great principle now. You have to start examining how really you consider things in this world. This is the first step. Like, for example, in whatever things you see bad, you please look well. There is also good in that thing. And whatever things you see good, please look well. There is also bad. So this is the first step. Don't make this two watertight compartments like Western religions have done and pushed into our heads. Don't do that. What? This is good and this is bad. And there is no second question about it. No two ways about it. This is good and this is bad. They make those watertight compartments. There is no such thing in this world. Every atom has both. Every single thing in this universe has both. So that's why I was just telling you, the most noble act of puja will also have negative in it. And the most criminal act which is going on, I just showed you how it is sustaining the whole. Crime is sustaining the whole world. Without it, the world will not go around. This you have to give some thought. So now, see, in every good thing there will be bad, and every bad thing there will be good. This is when we start our journey of transcending good and bad. This is a higher stage in spirituality. And therefore, you see, saints never have enemies. We have friends and enemies. They have gone beyond the pairs of opposite. No enemies. Everybody is friend. There is no such thing as enemies. He has transcended all this. No religion. We have. Saints go beyond all such things. No gender. Mirabai once went to meet Tulsidas ji. So the legend goes. And she stood outside and she sent a note inside saying, Mirabai has come to meet the great Tulsidas. Tulsidas sent back a note outside saying, Tulsidas, he does not meet women. Mirabai sent back a note to the second note. As far as I understand, there is only one Purusha. See, the word in Sanskrit and Hindi is Purusha. There is only one Purusha, that is Uttam Purusha, Bhagwan Shri Krishna. Baki sab log, everybody women. The whole is Prakriti, because we all belong to Prakriti, na? Prakriti means Maya, this Nitya. So we all are part of Nitya. So we all Stri, women. And Bhagwan Shri Krishna is the only Purush. Tulsidas sent back a second note. Please come in. We make watertight comparison. Man, woman, good, bad, right, wrong, hot, cold. I tell you, and I've demonstrated so many times, every one of the pairs of opposites is present in the other one. Like I am tall and short at the same time. 100 degrees Celsius is hot and cold at the same time. Because the boiling water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, no? So you say that hot or cold? Hot! So you take your pot of boiling water and you go down by the steel mill there. Well, now it closed down, but before that you go. You go down by the steel mill and there you have steel boiling at 2,200 degrees Celsius. You put the pot by the steel there and you ask that steel, what do you think about this fella? He hot or he cold? That steel, boiling steel, will say, what? Hot. This fella experienced in winter. 100 degrees Celsius before 2,200 degrees Celsius is what? Cold, isn't it? So this pot hot or cold now? Like that, that's why Einstein said we live in a relative universe. Everything is really relative. It was so true. Einstein would have studied Upanishad, I tell you. So, our journey then of spiritual enlightenment starts with realizing this thing, that really you cannot put watertight compartment, this right, this wrong, this good, this bad. To start transcending both of them, you have to start seeing that one is present in the other. That is that your journey starts there. Start seeing that thing. Right? And that is buttressed by another very wonderful principle in Bhakti Yoga. And that is, what is that principle? It is this. That since Bhagavan is all pervasive and Bhagavan is present in everything, then you cannot discount anything in this world. So this thing all bad. You cast out half of the universe. How you'll do? Bhagavan is present in that also. Because we all say he's all pervasive, na? In this same Gita in 7th chapter, Vasudeva Sarvamiti, he is everything. Tulsi Daji, see Ram, mein sab jagat jaan. Everything is Ram. So how you discount half of the universe? Right there. That's why criminals don't fall dead. We feel that they should fall dead, but they don't fall dead. The Lord is very much present equally in any vile criminal as he is present in any saint. Your rudimentary understanding of the universe and all doesn't mean to say that is where the universe is. You have to study Upanishad and Gita. Bhagavan is very much present in any criminal as he is present in any saint. So for that second reason now, you cannot just discount half the universe. You just say, look, my dear, I was born in this universe, which I found like you made it? No. Let me tell you something. Not only that I made it, you can make an atom even. Anybody here ever made an atom? Tell no. I'll change my statement. We can't even make an atom. We found every atom when we came here. We stole many and... Yeah, so because I have plenty in my body, you know. So, just tell yourself now like this. I found myself in this world and this is the rule and law and this is how the world is structured, constructed, this is how it operates. Right? No. Second thing, I find myself in satsang where the key will be given. Which key? The key to coming out from this world which I have found myself in. And what is that key? That key really requires a lot of study, that's why the Shastras talk so much about swadhyaya, self-study. You have to go on reading and study, find yourself in satsang, reflecting, pondering all the time about what is taught there in the satsang. And if our good karma is done like this, we will meet some great teacher, some guru, somebody who can also guide us out of this whole thing. Now you see why Bhagavan says, Sarva dharman parityajya, having dropped all dharma, which I told you Bhagavan Shankaracharya says means all adharma also. It means to say, you have to drop the idea that this is dharma and this is adharma. No, you will notice also that this is at the highest level of spirituality, isn't it? Because Bhagavad Gita is coming to an end, so it has to be the culmination. Prior to that, there is great, and don't misunderstand this whole thing now, there is great value, there has to be great value in teaching all sadhaks, seekers, aspirants, that there is something called dharma and there is something called adharma. And you please follow dharma and avoid adharma. So at a basic level of spirituality, this is the teaching. When we have gained a good footing in that, I am following dharma, I am avoiding adharma. When we have gained a good footing in that thing, then it is time to move to the next level, where I start seeing now what I used to think was dharma, that also includes adharma. What I used to think was adharma, that thing also includes dharma. And if you had a big question in your mind all over the years as to why evil people succeed too, this is the answer. Why evil people sometimes we say they succeed more than good people. Have you seen? Many people have complained that about me, to me. What they say? Swamiji, I struggling, I going to satsang, I doing all good thing, and this and that. And And then people, when they do all the vilest thing, and they're prospering and succeeding, and they, becoming successful every day. How? Because these, you may see them as doing, vile and wicked and all that kind of thing. But at the same time, it is the wicked people who are more diligent, less lazy, more dedicated, more concentrated. You wouldn't believe, when you sleep in 2 o'clock in the morning, you snoring from wall to wall. That time, this fella bright, awake, isn't it? Tamas take you over totally. He in full rajas. Full rajas. And not only that, especially in places like India, some of the Far East countries and all, that man go get up that time. He woke now start, right? 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, he woke now start. He go get up and he go pray to Lord Ganesh, please remove all obstacles on my path now. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurme Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. You please remove all obstacles today. I'm not going to work now. The man has so much of dedication, so much of strength, energy, power, all that. He goes with, awareness. Let me tell you something. You see now, if that man goes to steal at 2 o'clock in the morning and he's not aware, fully aware, there are dire consequences for him, isn't it? If you come to this Bhagavad Gita class and you sleep away, what is the consequence? None. It means nobody will tell you anything, isn't it? Nobody put you in jail. But if that fellow make a mistake, 2 o'clock in the morning, in trouble. So you have to be so much aware. So see how much of aware, and we teach about awareness all the time. Full awareness is the mark of a great soul. We don't think about all of these things. Immediately we catch it as vile, wicked fella. You'll go to hell. Your thinking is not complete. You wouldn't believe the height of awareness of a thief or a criminal. Swami Vivekananda used to tell, don't give me all of these so-called bhaktas, give me 10 criminals. Give me 10 criminals and I'll change this world. Because he understood what type of great willpower, what type of great awareness, what type of great inner strength a criminal has. But you don't know how these people, how they are prospering. So, all this type of understanding is supposed to take you now to the next level. I'm going to drop this thing called dharma, adharma, good, bad. We have this strong feeling of this, good, this. I mean mentally. Because that thing has our minds bifurcated like this, There's schism in our mind. This type of teaching. So we have to graduate to no, there is one absolute reality pervading all things which I considered hitherto to be dharma and adharma. And now, so I'm coming to see the one reality which stands beneath, which stands at the substratum level of what I call good and bad. So now to reach that level, I have to drop all this idea of dharma and adharma. Now I just finished the first phrase. Sarva dharman parityajya. Now the next phrase, mamekam sharanam vraja. Take refuge in me, the one Lord of this whole universe. And throughout this Gita, the teaching is there is only one thing in this universe. There is a so-called jiva, means you and I, right? This jiva has been holding himself to be separate from God for lifetime after lifetime. But we cannot be separate from God. Can a fish be separated from water? Can the fish be swimming in space? Fish cannot be swimming in space. Fish is born in water, lives in water, and dies in water. He's surrounded by water every moment of his life. We are born in God. Mayeva sakalam jatam, Mayi sarvam pratishchitam, Mayi sarvam layam yati, he says in the Upanishad. All things are born in me, Bhagavan said. Everything sustains itself in me, and everything merges in me again, dissolves in me. Like that. Let us just imagine in the ocean, a certain amount of water forms itself into the shape of a human being. So where has the shape of a human being come from? The ocean. Then it stays in the ocean for a little while. And in that ocean, the same shape of human being again melts into the ocean. Like that. Sakalam. Sakalam means all things in this universe. So that one Lord who is there is everything which we are seeing in front of us. But we are strongly holding on to our individual identity, and we don't want to relinquish it in favor of that absolute reality. We strongly hold our identity, and you are taught in society to identify yourself very strongly. In other words, you will retain your identity and your separateness from God. That is a mental thing only. So what is Bhagavan talking about here? Dissolve that mental wall which you have built between yourself and the whole universe, which is God. Mamekam sharanam vraja. Take refuge. Means give up the individual identity and understand that I am made of Sat. The space here is made of Sat. Bhagavan is made of Sat. Every single thing in this universe is made of Sat. Existence only. That which we saw just a few days ago. Pure existence. Ekam. And sharanam here, taking refuge means giving up your individual identity. Then he said, don't worry, ma shuchaha. I will sarva papebhyaha mokshaishyami. I will free you from all papas, all sins. What is sin? Sin means, now see, this is a sweeping definition of sin in Hinduism. It is certainly not anything close to what you have been exposed to in the Western milieu in which you were brought up. We come from a very ancient and most profound culture which had our thinking totally different to what you have been exposed to, because we have had 300 years of British domination and all the colonial powers and their all ways of thinking. Our minds have been dominated totally. We think purely like Christians. So now, in these Western religions, what is sin? You see, you have do's and don't. Don't steal. Don't lie. Don't, so these all the numbers are there. Right? That is called sin. And all the other things which you can do, that is no sin. There is no such thing in Hinduism. Huh? I just told you, no matter how good thing you do, there will also be. This is Hinduism. So if you belong to this Hinduism and you profess to be a Hindu, you have to also understand all these deep philosophical nuances of the religion which you belong to. No matter how good you may consider something to be, that will have some part of pap. So, our definition of sin in Hinduism therefore becomes like this. Please see this. Anything that I do to retain my identity and to see myself as separate from God, anything I engage in to keep my separateness from God, that thing is called as sin. Because I am not separate from God. I have never been. And I am perpetuating that feeling. How? By my likes and dislikes. I like this thing. Good. Nice picture of Swami Vivekananda. Where you get it? Then you ask the person immediately, how much you pay? I want to get one too. Now I buy it online. Oh God, order one for me too now. I know it had tax, but So our likes and dislikes take us outside and we see the thing as separate from me. We see everything as separate from me. And the more I engage in that, the more I am perpetuating that feeling that this thing is separate from me. That thing is called as sin. And pap in Sanskrit. So pap will have consequences. the more I keep myself separate from God, the more I will feel the negative effects of the sansara. And if I see I'll give you a simple example. Look here. If, during the freedom movement, I tell this story, I've told this story many times. But during the freedom movement, there were curfews. The British used to impose curfews in India. Okay, after this time, nobody walk on the street. That was the rule. One Bhole Bhale Mahatma Ji. Bhole Bhale means a simple fellow. We know about curfew, and if you tell him also curfew, that's an English word. He no English also. He come out in the road and in Magan Mein, in bliss, he just walking about. Parivrajaka it's called. Walking about. That after curfew time. I mean during when curfew is imposed. So the British officers and I'm catch him. And let me tell you something, the British officers were Indian officers only, hired by the British. They beat him up like anything. Stupid man, what happened to you? You don't know curfew, what are you doing outside? They gave him good licks, half dead, they leave him on the road. So, luckily, some disciple, this happened in front of our disciple's house, close by. And the disciple looked out and saw this Mahatma on the road. So, very carefully looking on both sides, the disciple opened the door and dragged him inside. Then, started nursing him. Next morning when the curfew was lifted and people had a few hours, all the disciples gathered, they know. What happened to the Guru? They found out British officers beat him. And British officer means Indian hired by the British. One disciple went out and he did some investigation and he found out who the officers were. So he come back and tell the Guru. He said, Guruji, we find out these officers who did this to you. Should we go and finish them? That Guru said a very nice thing, No, why you'll go and finish them? The same hands that beat me up last night are the same hands that are nursing me back to health now. So he has eliminated totally any difference between the hands that beat him and the hands that are nursing him. Because of long years of study and meditation, he has eliminated that difference. There is no difference between you and me. No difference between Indian, African, Chinese, Hindu, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist. There is no difference. He has eliminated all of that difference. As anything we do to retain that difference, that thing is called as pap. And the consequence of pap is sorrow. If now he had retained that difference and he said, yes, those crooks, they beat me up last night. Misguided fellows, go and catch them. Bring them here. We'll take revenge now. And this type of philosophy is taught at the highest level in society. You have to be very, very careful. This revengeful type of thing is based on sense of difference. The American president himself in his address to the nation said, we have finally avenged the death of 3,000 Americans by killing Bin Laden. Revenge is the word he used. That is rooted in this duality and this feeling of separation. I'm separate from you, I'm different from you. See that kind of thing, right? And that is there at all levels of society. At the highest level of the world also. Revenge. So, anything we do in that direction of keeping that deep schism in life, in between this and this, that thing is called a pap. And the more and more I try to remove that and feel my oneness with all things, that is called as punya. And eventually I am supposed to merge with all things. So sages and saints don't see themselves as different from anything in this world. That's called punya, the opposite of pap. But Bhagavan says, for the one who takes refuge in me, like the salt doll diving into the ocean to measure the depth of the ocean. Then what happens to the salt doll? Dissolves. In the very same way, we have to dissolve in Bhagavan. We'll get moksha. We'll become free from all sins. We'll come out from the cycle of birth and death. Mamekam Sharanam Raja. Take refuge in me alone. And Aham Tva Sarva Papi. I'll free you from all sins. In other words, by taking refuge in me, you will become freed from all sin. Bhagavan doesn't have to make a conscious act of freeing anybody from any sin. That is a very simple thing. When you open your window, the sunlight doesn't have to make a conscious act to peep into your window, isn't it? When the opening of the window and the gushing in of the sunlight is a simultaneous thing. So the surrender to the Lord and the becoming free from the sansar, they are simultaneous things. Not that after you surrender to Bhagavan, Bhagavan will say, okay, good boy, come. Now I go free you. They are not sequential occurrences. They are simultaneous things, concomitant things, things that happen together. You see? Then he said, Ma Shuchaha, don't worry, don't cry, don't fret. And in Trinidad language, I better. Don't fret. I have some other words for that. What is the word? You don't hurt your head. Yeah. Long time they said, don't dig nothing. Don't hurt your head. All right. So this is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, where Bhagavan wants the devotee to merge with him. It's called as mukti, moksha, liberation, enlightenment, nirvana, self-realization, whatever name you want to call this thing. All right. Now, what is there in the next verse? Bhagavan says, idam te na tapaskaya. This thing, don't teach it to anybody who has not done tapas. So I hope all did tapas. Because I teaching for the last 2.5 months. Now he tell me. In a Gita now he said, don't teach this thing to anyone people who do tapas. But why didn't you tell me in the beginning? Well, one very wonderful thing is there about that. If you did not do tapas, you will not be sitting here today. Your karma brought you here, and that karma was tapas only, which you did. That's how you are here. That's why we never worry. Who has to be here will be here. And who doesn't have to be here, so we never worry. Okay.